If you knew there was a universe where you were happy, wouldn't you want to go there?
Marvel has always had a chokehold over my emotions, whether it be from Black Widow sacrificing herself instead of Hawkeye, I mean, we all know it should have been Hawkeye, or to the loss of Tony Stark, but no one has quite suffered like Wanda Maximoff, aka the Scarlet Witch. From trauma dating back to her childhood and her adult life being plagued by frequent loss, her storyline has become less about how powerful she is and more about her journey through grief. Wanda's tragedy began long before she became the Scarlet Witch. As a child in Sokovia, Wanda and her brother Pietro watched on as a missile destroyed their home, taking the lives of both of their parents. Despite their upbringing in a war-torn Sokovia, their parents were hinted at as being good people, who did everything they could to protect their children. The entire situation is devastating and a formative moment for both of the children. However, the worst part was that the missile was made by Stark Industries, thus kick-starting their need for revenge on Tony Stark. Wanda was of course never the same after this, instead desperately trying to seek restitution for their loss. She never had a chance to have a normal childhood following the events of Sokovia, with Wanda and her brother volunteering for Hydra experiments led by Baron von Strucker. While most subjects didn't survive, she did, as did her brother. While the experiments gave her exceptional powers, they were also incredibly inhumane. While Wanda and Pietro were seeking a home, they ended up only finding more trauma and amplifying their grief. We are shown very little about Wanda's time under Strucker, but our minds can only imagine the worst. As we know, his one goal was to create an Avengers-level threat. Thankfully, Strucker was defeated at the hands of the Avengers, but this resulted in Wanda and Pietro becoming untethered, seeking a new place to call home, a new master of sorts. They weren't wise with their choice and aligned themselves with an AI known as Ultron, which, as we know, only leads to more pain and more suffering. During the events of Age of Ultron, both Wanda and Pietro come to realize that perhaps they haven't made the best decisions and that Ultron is an evil that they just cannot align themselves with, resulting in them betraying it. But by that point, it was already kind of too late, and Ultron's plan to destroy Earth was already well underway, forcing Wanda and Pietro to team up with the Avengers to put a stop to the madness. This, however, leads to one of the most tragic and heartbreaking moments for Wanda, with Pietro losing his life saving Hawkeye. The one family member she has left, the one person she cares about more than anyone, the one person who truly understood what she had survived, gone. Now, while this all results in her becoming an Avenger and opening herself up to others, there is ultimately a wound that will never be healed. Things only go from bad to worse for Wanda as we enter the events of Captain America: Civil War, when she accidentally causes mass fatalities after attempting to save a street full of innocent people. Now, despite preventing a much larger disaster, this did lead to worldwide fear, public hatred, and of course the Superhero Registration Act, aka the Sokovia Accords, which of course would divide the Avengers, leading to civil war. Wanda had just found a family, only for them to be torn apart due to something she inadvertently caused. The only person she trusts now is Vision. For once, we feel like something good is finally happening for her. The two fall in love because he understands her, he accepts her, even her mistakes, but the happiness and peace lasts all of 5 minutes, because here comes Avengers Infinity War, an endless trauma for everyone involved. As we know, Thanos has been on the hunt for the Infinity Stones, intending on using them to wipe out half of the population, creating balance. The problem here is that the Mind Stone is part of Vision, the thing that is powering him, the thing right there in the middle of his head. It is his primary life force and direct power source for his abilities. Knowing there is nothing they can do to stop Thanos, they take matters into their own hands, with Vision asking Wanda to destroy the stone with her power, which of course would result in his demise. It's a heartbreaking moment watching Wanda, who has battled through so much grief and pain, have to destroy the one thing she loves more than anything. You think it can't possibly get worse than that, right? Wrong, because Thanos arrives and uses the Time Stone to rewind time and rips out the Mind Stone in front of Wanda as she is forced to watch her love die once more. It is undoubtedly one of the cruelest things Thanos has ever done, undoing Wanda's sacrifice. Despite her immense strength, there is literally nothing she can do to prevent it. This moment would prove to be the one to break Wanda completely, leading to the events of WandaVision. Moments after she is forced to watch Vision perish, she gets blipped as Thanos snaps his fingers. Half the population gone. Then she returns, only to learn that Vision has been dead for years. Time has passed, but for those blipped, it was mere seconds. She never got to grieve the loss of him. Instead, she is pulled into a war against Thanos as Endgame is well underway. As I mentioned, Wanda never gets to grieve Vision, resulting in her falling into an incredibly negative headspace driven solely by her pain and trauma. In the midst of this, she creates Westview by unleashing immense chaos magic, creating an entire alternate reality. Within this reality, Wanda transforms this town into a sitcom, spanning many different television eras from the likes of I Love Lucy to The Brady Bunch. The residents of this town are unknowingly forced to play the roles in Wanda's fantasy, trapped under her control and following the script she has created. Also within this world, Vision. She recreates him from her magic. This is how powerful she is, and builds the peaceful family life she has always wanted but never got, even creating 2 children, Billy and Tommy. However, as is a constant in Wanda's life, good can't ever last, and cracks begin to form in the town, and she's forced to confront the reality that this perfect life is built on pain of innocent people. In the finale of the show, she is forced to close the reality, losing her conjuring of Vision as well as her 2 children. Once again, Wanda is alone. It is absolutely devastating as she is forced to say goodbye once again to the thing she loves most. Westview was never about Wanda becoming evil, it was about Wanda refusing to let go. Everything I've stated is awful, and enough to send anyone off the deep end and into a dark hole filled with anger and grief, and well, that is exactly what happens next as we enter the Multiverse of Madness. This is essentially the tragic continuation of WandaVision. WandaVision was purely focused on denial and acceptance, Multiverse of Madness was purely focused on anger and retribution. Wanda becomes consumed by the need to undo everything and bring back not only Vision, but also the children she created in this fake reality. She isolates herself, studying the Darkhold, an ancient book of dark magic, a book that corrupts whoever uses it. It feeds on a person's deepest desires, and for Wanda, it exploits her wound she has never been able to recover from. The loss of her parents, the loss of her brother, the loss of Vision, and the loss of the children that in her mind were completely real. She is convinced they are existing somewhere in one of the infinite multiverses. In the process of all of this, she becomes so consumed by grief, she becomes the villain. It is utterly tragic to watch unfold. She does manage to destroy the Darkhold though, sacrificing herself, seemingly, instead of continuing to hurt people. It is perhaps the first completely selfless decision we see her make since losing Vision. For Wanda Maximoff, power was never the gift, it was a curse. No matter how powerful she became, she could never use it to protect the people she loved. She could rewrite reality, but she couldn't rewrite loss. And that is exactly why I don't think Wanda is just one of Marvel's strongest characters. She is Marvel's greatest tragedy. Let me know if you're a fan of Wanda Maximoff. Let me know who you think is the strongest Avenger. And let me know what your favourite MCU movie is. And I will see you in the next video.